Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Shop Talk with Mel. Today's guest, I'm excited about today's guest, big time. Totally excited. I have let me get this all the way right, the relationship coach, author. I want to add some extra stuff in there because today's topic is mixed match. So we have none other than the matchmaker in the building. So I need you lovely people to let's give them a warm Shop Talk welcome. It's Blair Nash.
Very much.
Appreciate
you having me on.
Oh man, listen, it's been a long time. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
When we met, do you remember what year that was?
It had to be either 16 or 17. I want to say one of the two.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with 17 because I know you have my book that you have there came out in 2016. Then it came out in April. Yeah. Love is a beautiful thing, still a thing, right?
Right.
It came out in 2016, but it came out in April 2016, and I think you and I met kind of in the wintertime. It was like February.
Okay.
So let's go with it. Let's go with 17.
217. We'll go with 217. All right. I have a wonderful author, Blair Nash. This is the book that I like most. You got several books out there, but I like most. And for the listening audience, it's Love is a Beautiful Thing Till It Ain't. Blair Nash, BlairNash. All right, lovely people. So I want to touch base on these. You asked some questions, which was really kind of cool. How do you keep your relationship fresh and growing amid the demands, conflicts, and just plain boredom? Relationships, they do get boring.
Yes, they do.
Or shall I say I get bored?
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there.
All right, so Mr. Nash actually asked the question, are you struggling in an unhealthy relationship you can't seem to break free from? That happens a lot. Do you find yourself falling victim to predators and sharks of the dating world? Now, when you say, do you find yourself being victim of the predators and the sharks? When you say predators and sharks, you see I'm jumping right into this because I know I only got you for a little time, so I appreciate it.
No doubt.
When you say predators and sharks, What are the sharks?
Well, again, first of all, let me just first of all say thank you so much for having me on. Yeah, it's been a while, and I appreciate you letting me speak to your audience. When you think of a predator, you think of someone who has an agenda, and you think of someone who has usually a negative agenda. When you think of predatory lending, when you think of a predator who may be, kind of after a woman or whatever, it's always in a negative fashion. And so what I tell people all the time is there are predators, men and women, but there are predators out there. And how do you keep yourself astute and aware of the fact that these people are out there, and at first glance, you're not able to really tell who those people are, right? So one of the things that I do, thank you for the introduction as well. One of the things that I do when I coach young women is I help them to understand that, a lot of times with predators, they're not going to come with, hey, I'm here to use you, I'm here to abuse you, I'm here to take your money, I'm here to impregnate you and leave. They're not going to come with that mindset. What they're going to do is they're going to put on a facade of I'm together, I'm well, I don't mean you any harm, I'm not trying to do anything to you, and that's the thing that you have to look out for. So what are those things that you can look out for? And that's one of the reasons why I write the books that I do, because I want women to understand that, yes, there are a lot of good men out here, but there are also men looking to take advantage and abuse you. And I don't mean abuse in a violent way, but abuse your emotions, abuse your spirit, abuse your finances, abuse you spiritually. And you have to be on guard and aware of that at all times. You can't have a mindset and say, well, if the men just kind of straightened up and did better, we wouldn't deal with this. That's always been around, and that's not going to go anywhere. So what you have to do is take it upon yourself and assume the responsibility and accountability and say, I have to be, aware of what's, of the fact that there are men who possibly could harm me in this dating arena. So I just help women to understand that and let them be aware that, don't, there's the old BBD song, never trust a big button to smile, right?
Yeah.
For the women, right?
Your mute came on.
Sorry.
There you go. Okay, go ahead. I said your mute came on. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But on the men's side, you have to understand that, don't trust, a great smile and a guy who sounds good, right? Make sure you vet him. Make sure where's he coming from? Where's his people from? What are his beliefs? What are his philosophies about dating, about marriage, about black culture? All those things are important. To just say, well, he's attractive and he's an attorney and he's in a fraternity or whatever, and that's going to be okay, and he should be cool. You got to be smart about these things. So that's my short answer, so to speak.
Now, what do you say about the guys who actually say, "Why are you telling all the secrets"? Do you get that?
So I mean, yeah, I do get that, especially when I first started a lot. So I always tell people, essentially there's a playbook that men and women have. It's kind of an unspoken secret. Women have their playbook of the things that they do that are kind of like, shh, girl, don't tell nobody, this is how we get down. And so do men. And so one of the things that I tell people all the time is that men are not as smart as women as it relates to, kind of how to navigate the dating scene. But men are not as dumb as women make them out to be either. Because in dating, women are made out to be like, he's just a dumb whatever. All he wants is some sex and he wants to do it. And it's like, men aren't quite that primitive. We're simple, but we're not primitive. So yeah, I have gotten flack from a number of men who, feel that, you get the pander, you're pandering to women, you're doing this, you're soft on the women. So yeah, you get it, and once people, and I'm sure you know, Mel, once people really understand me, they know I go. I don't want to say I go both ways. That might sound wrong. Let me walk that back. I am as hard on women as I am on the men, and I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
So I'm what I call myself is fair. You know, I give it to men, and I talk about all the things, and especially, and I don't know if you got a chance to read my most recent book. It came out in 2018, which is not really recent, but I took it really hard to the men. I took it. I got women on the chin too, but I took it really hard to the men in some of the things that we really have not grasped and have not galvanized and come together and make happen. So yeah, but yes, I do get that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'll be like, why are you telling all the secrets? When you caught my attention, actually, they were telling me, hey, Mel, you got to come see this guy. And so I was like, okay, here we go. Somebody else saying something else, And actually, I never, I'm a fast forward a little bit. I never watched, what is that, Steve Harvey, Think Like a Man? Or something. I never watched that. I saw you, and I was like, okay, here we go. I'm sitting there talking, doing what I do, socializing. And you caught my interest when you actually did come down on the women and ask a major question, which was, do you even know what you want?
Sure.
Now, when you asked that, I was sitting at the bar talking. That's where I was sitting at. I was like, I turned around and I said, now this is good.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, so when you ask that question, do you expect certain answers? Or it made us think, because it made me think. And I'm like, it was like, what do I what do I want? So it is kind of unfair for the fellas.
Yeah, great question. So one of the things that I do is I try to help women to, there's a book that Tyrese, the singer, wrote, and the book is called Getting Out of Your Own Way. And one of the things that I try to help women to understand is you're going to eventually have to not sabotage yourself in dating and relationships and what I call shooting yourself in the foot. So what women tend to do a lot of times is when, they say, well, what kind of guy do you like? Well, I want him to be this, and that. So, okay, all right, I got it. That sounds good. That's a good list. And then I said, okay, let's challenge that up. Let's go look at what I call your dating resume. You say you want this, and that. The men that you've dated over, whether it's 10, 20, 30 years, the men that you've dated, do they represent that? Right? Am I able to look at your dating situation and see that you are dating the same type of men that you claim that you like? So what I find that women do pretty much no matter where you go is they have this list. I want them to be, God-fearing. I want them to be smart. I want them to be this, and I want them to be, educated, et cetera, et cetera. I say, okay, great. But is that what you really want? Is that in your core? If I were to, be your hanging buddy for the past, 15, 20 years, is that the type and caliber and cachet of men that you've gone after? Because what you find is that there's what women say, and there's what women allow themselves to, allow themselves to date or what they go after. And those two usually don't jive with one another. And so, especially our women, they like a certain type. We all know what that type is. And they like a certain type. And it's a challenge because you shouldn't tell a woman, hey, you shouldn't like that type of man. Maybe you need to tweak the things that you like about men. And so I try to just help women understand, be honest, if you want a guy who's, who's a thug or, then say that. Don't be scared to say that. Understand why you want that though. Ask yourself, why is it so important that I meet a guy who ain't scared, who gets fighting, who's a thug a little bit? Ask yourself these questions. Because saying, well, I just want a guy who's God-fearing and who loves children. And that's not the same kind of guy that you're going after and that you're allowing in your dating circles. So I just try to help women to understand that you have to be honest with yourself and aware and ask yourself, I say, here's my list, here's my, criteria, here's my standards, but is that really what I like? And I think women have to, they just have to be transparent and ask themselves that.
Now, I get the question of, with why are so many successful women single?
So many successful men or women?
Women. Why are so many successful women single? Now, pin that, okay? So that's up top. That's the heading, okay?
Yeah.
Now, right before that, I was listening to you, and you kind of have men who say they want a lady in the street and a freak in the bed. Well, a freak in the sheet, okay? You've heard that before, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So, now somebody like me, and I'm just going to use me as an example. I'll be the sacrificial lamb right now, okay? It's, okay, I want a God-fearing man,
right.
And I want a delicate, it sounds like an oxymoron, wait for it, a delicate roughneck. I'm dating myself. MC Light, shout out to you. So to say that, or an intelligent roughneck, you know what I mean? So what does that mean to you as a matchmaker? What would you look at for me? Go ahead.
So let me just say this. So again, kind of piggybacking on my last comment, I would say, why do you feel that you need a roughneck? And then I would say, what is a roughneck to you? Because when I think of roughneck, I think of somebody, when I think of a roughneck, I think of a guy who's, on the block doing his thing, kind of goes by his own code, kind of has that street mindset, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I think of when I think of roughneck, and there's, I won't say anything about whether it's wrong or whatever. I'll just say, if you're looking to build I
ain't looking for nobody on the block hanging out. I needed the legal way, but the rest of your definition was accurate. I like that look.
Okay. Right. So then,
you got to dress up when we got to go somewhere. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't rock with the Timbs with me because I'm like, I'm out. Yeah.
Right. So then again, you feel it. So my question to you then again would be, as I mentioned, I would inquire, what is it about a roughneck that you need? Do you just say, I want a man who has a backbone? That's different than a roughneck.
Yes.
A guy, you can be a Rhodes Scholar
and respected. A backbone, respected in their community, but you gotta treat me like you could be a lion out in the street, but a teddy bear at home.
Right. So now what we're doing is we're kind of altering the definition of what a roughneck is, because again, like I said, if you're saying I want a man with a backbone, that's fine. You should have a man with a backbone. You should have some spine to him, no question.
And put it down.
And put it down. Okay, so fine, that's fine. So again, when you say roughneck, what is, I have to ask, what is your definition? Because again, I just gave you mine. I think of, when I think of roughneck, I'm thinking of DMX. Kind of, rest in power, my brother.
Yeah, rest in power, but nine.
Kind of in that mindset, who just kind of has an energy about them that is alluring, no question. I don't doubt that. But again, my next statement is that my next question: if you are trying to build legacy, and if you are trying to build family, is that the kind of guy that you should be connecting with? Because generally, as a general principle, those type of men usually are kind of mixed up with the law. They're kind of in and out of jail a lot of times. Yeah. They have a lot of other stuff going on. And I'm saying, as a rule,
my roughneck would be I'm not crushing on her at all, but I would say like a Busta Rhymes type person.
Okay.
The stature,
Okay.
that type.
Okay. Yeah. So, now when you say Busta Rhymes, are you talking about the rapper, or are you talking about the man himself?
The man himself.
Okay. Gotcha.
But the rapper everybody else sees.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, like I said, I would challenge you to say, what is your definition of a roughneck? Because that's what I think of. I think of a guy who kind of has a street presence and is in the street, and eventually we all hear the stories. These streets don't love you, and eventually it's going to catch up with you. So if that's the kind of man that you want, then you have to understand that that's not the kind of guy that you build a legacy with. And a lot of our women, unfortunately, from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they've had this concept and this model that this is the kind of man that they want. You even admitted it, right? So then you have to say, am I ready for all the stuff that comes with that? Am I ready for the indiscriminate violence and rampant violence that comes with it? Because women want the roughneck and the look and the allure and the presence, but they don't want I don't want him to be in and out of jail. I don't want him to be bothered with drugs. I don't want him fighting and getting arrested and all that, but I want that type of guy. Well, again, why? Why does it have to be a roughneck? Why can't you just simply put it in the measure and the concept of, I want a man who doesn't take no SHIT. I want a man who, is about his business and handles things. That's different than a roughneck. Why do you want a roughneck?
EJ Lo, you see, she thought she did. She dipped quick, didn't she? She was with P. Diddy for one day, like it's over.
That life is not for building families.
Mm-hmm.
That life, it just isn't. And so really, it's kind of what I tell. I even talked about this in my most recent book. It's an unlearning process that a lot of our women have to go through because, through the 70s, 80s, 90s, our women were fed this idea that this is the kind of man that you should go after. That we had, you saw the marriage of all these rap and R&B songs like, Mary J. Blige and Method Man, You're All I Need to Get By, right? And you saw, and this is the kind of man that dotes on you. You need a thug that's in the streets. But that's not reality.
Because they don't have time for you.
What's that?
They don't have time for you.
Yes. They don't have time for you, and again, by and large, dealing with that kind of man is going to bring on the street element, if you know what I mean. We all know the street element. And so again, our women want the Method Man, they want the Buster, they want the DMX, they want that look, but they don't want all that comes with it. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, that comes with it. 9 times out, I would even say 9.5 times out of 10. So, do you want to deal with the law of, do you want to deal with the idea that probably could happen? It's more than likely going to happen? No. So, why not say to yourself, you know what, I do want a man who's about his business. I do want a man who's respected. I do want a man who has, some intestinal fortitude about himself, who's ambitious. But I don't want this idea and this model of this roughneck and this thug that has really, in a lot of ways, ravaged our community and done a lot of harm to many of our black women. So yeah.
Okay. Now I'm off. I'm not the sacrificial lamb anymore. I'm off now.
Okay.
Now, what about the nice guy? Let me say this first. Usually, the women that I notice, I'm a female, our needs change or our desires change as we get older.
Right.
So now let's move up to the woman over 40 and over.
Okay.
And she's not really interested in how much you make. She's interested in time. And she's looking for that guy, and she doesn't want to have any children. She's past that. But a man doesn't have any children. And she's going after him. What would you speak to that for me?
So what I would say is, I will say this, and I'm going to say this. Well, no, I'm trying to tap dance, right? I just got to say it. Once you hit a certain age, especially as a woman, you are going to have less and less, as they say, bites at the apple. So now you have to say to yourself, okay, now I'm 40, I've got a kid, maybe 2, maybe 3, and I don't have the options. A lot of the guys that were around when I was 25 and 30, they're married, or they just don't want to be married at all, or they're just still playing games or whatever. So you have to understand, you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to deal with, right? When you're 25, you're like, I want a man, he got to be this, he got a six-pack, 6 feet tall, he got to have this and that, and he got to, drive this and everything else, right? But then you start to say, okay, well, I'm 40, and the idea that there's these single 6-foot guys with flat stomachs, great smiles, who want to be in relationships, they're not just hanging on trees everywhere, right? So then you say to yourself, okay, what am I willing to negotiate as far as my preferences? As I tell women all the time, your standards never change. Never should change.
Okay.
Never should change. But your preferences, does he have to make, 80, 90, 100 grand a year? Maybe not. Does he have to drive a BMW? Does he have to drive a Lexus? Maybe not. Does he have to be 6 feet? Maybe not. So you say to yourself, what are the things that I'm willing to sort of compromise on now? Because now that I'm, kind of getting more into my mature years, as I said, the idea and the notion that there's just all these single, wonderful guys who are just sitting there, just sitting there chomping at the bit, wanting to be married, and they're not involved with anyone else. They're not really out there once you hit 40, right? So then you have to say, what am I willing to negotiate? Am I willing to be okay with, the fact that, maybe he got a little bit of a belly, right? Because when you're 25, you're like, I don't do belly. I'm not doing no belly at all, right?
Uh-huh.
So when you're 40, you have to say, well, look, I got a little bit of a belly too. So I can't really trip off the fact that a man got a little bit of a stomach. What if his hairline ain't the greatest or whatever? Or what if you have to, no one's saying to go and get the ugliest man that you can find out there, the biggest, fattest, most ridiculous looking. No one is saying that. What men are saying is, understand your station in life. Understand that, if you have a situation where you're 40 and 45 and you're like, man, I got all kinds of awesome quality men coming after me, then great. You're a unicorn, because a lot of our women, unfortunately, don't have that. They don't go out on dates. They don't have quality men who want to date them. And so you have to say to yourself, what am I willing to do? I might have to get a little uncomfortable. I may have to, and being uncomfortable also means that, am I the type of individual, am I the type of woman that these quality men are looking for? If you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, maybe men don't want to deal with that, right?
Oh, that's
so you
a
have
lot.
to say, I got to find specific men who want to deal with children. If you're a certain weight, a lot of men don't want to deal with that, right? Maybe you have, I'm going to hit below the belt. Maybe you got weave in your hair or wig. A lot of men don't want to deal with that. So, it's understanding and learning where you are. There's a lot of things you can get away with at 20 and 25 that when you're 40, you can't get away with that. And so you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to negotiate? What am I willing to deal with, within reason? Again, nobody's telling you to go out and get the fattest, most sloppiest, no one's saying that. No one's saying to settle down with that guy.
Yeah, because they'll get cheated on.
What's that?
They'll get cheated on.
You'll get cheated on.
That's your sandwich.
Eventually, because I tell women all the time, make sure you get someone that you actually enjoy and like, because after as I call it, the new car smell wears off, you're going to resent that man. You're going to say, here I am, later with this, this fat old dude, whose thing don't work, sometimes or whatever, and you're just gonna be upset. So no, does he have to be a Boris Kojo, Idris Elba hybrid? No, he doesn't. But if you're willing to say, you know what, if he's only 5'8", 5'9", heck, I'm 5'5", if that's the issue, then let that be the issue, But then you have to understand, each and every time that you have a preference, you whittle away the options of the different men that you could potentially have. If you say, I want a man who's got a flat stomach, well, a lot of guys don't have flat stomachs, right? So now you're chiseling away some of the men that would be quality men. Well, I want him to make a certain figure. I ain't gonna deal with no man that makes, 40, 50 grand. Well, the majority of black men make 40 to 50, 60,000, right? So if you're saying that's not enough for me, well, now you close yourself off to another segment of men who would be quality for you. So you just have to say, be honest. What am I willing to negotiate? At 40, you have to negotiate. You're going to have to, because the idea that there's just these bevy of men just waiting to get with 40-year-old women, that's a lie, and it's a lie. A lot of our women have been told for generations now. Preachers and pastors, some of these life coaches out here tell our women that your Boaz is right there. You just keep on keeping on. And, that's not true. And then you have women, they go into 45 and 50, and, now they're getting, like, wow, I mean, you told me the Boaz was right there. He ain't no. You have to be, you're going to have to get uncomfortable and deal and understand and take some things that you may not have in the past.
Okay. Now, you spoke about, I actually asked the question regarding what you said as far as what do you want? And as we were speaking about that, you said something to the effect of, if I can go back, I guess check the resume to see the type of guys that we were dealing with prior versus the type that we want. But it seems, I guess people go back to familiarity. And if you go back and you see the type of person that someone was probably dealing with, and then they move forward and they tell you what they want, maybe they want something different.
Right.
Or do you ask?
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
Yeah. Well, most of us want. If I were to talk to most men and say, give me your ideal woman, they're going to give you. They're going, I want her this. I want her this tall. I want her with a great physique. I want her with a wonderful smile. I want her sexy. I want this. I want that. Right. That's what you want. But do you qualify for that? And again, going back to my previous comment, a lot of our women have been told that they qualify for any man that they want at any time. And so they've been lied to. And how do you, and this is one of the reasons, one of the popular people right now is Kevin Samuels. And, when you say the name Kevin Samuels, you get women all across, they just, look, child, right?
I had that in my head, it was in the bubble above my head. I was like, yeah, okay. Go ahead.
and so what happens is when you talk to women about, when you say the name Kevin Samuels, automatically people are like, some people are like, wow, he's phenomenal. Everything he says is true. I won't say that everything he says is true. He does have a lot of great points. But one of the things that he mentions is, what do you qualify for? We all, all men want a woman who, whatever your style is, whether it's, I want a, light-skinned woman, dark-skinned woman, I want a thick, slim. We all have what we want. But do you qualify for that type of woman? Do you qualify for a woman who looks like a Rihanna or a Sierra or a Beyonce? Do you qualify for that, right? I can want it all day long, but do you qualify? And so part of the process where I think that Kevin has done some good is in helping our women to understand that, again, like I said, many of them have been lied to because they've been told for generations, for years, for decades, that there'll always be great men available. No matter how big you get, no matter how many children you get, no matter what size of the weed, edges, no matter what, you will always have your pick of the litter of men. And it took someone like a Kevin Samuels to really shake up the atmosphere and say, no, that's a lie, ladies.
Now, I agreed on that one.
Thank you. That's a lie. The numbers suggest that that's a lie. The fact that our women are the least married tells you that's a lie. Because if marriage and family is what you're supposed to be striving for, which most of our women, if you talk to them and say, I want a marriage, I want a good, healthy, prosperous marriage. If that's what you're supposed to be striving for, tell me why most of our women are not married. Because you can't necessarily, and I don't want to go too deep in everything, but to put it on just solely black men, I think that they're not looking at some of the metrics which say that, again, most of our women qualify for marriage. And the flat, harsh answer is no. And that's really a kick in the stomach to most women. And rather than them hearing that, they want to immediately go into defense mode and say, no. The majority of our women have a lot of things going on with them. And so how do you tell our women, you don't necessarily qualify for the man you think you should get. You want this prototype of this man. Do you qualify for that? Because again, if that guy can pretty much, if he is what you say he is, if he's paid, and he's handsome, and he's this and what, he can have his pick of the litter. Why should he choose someone who is older? Why would he choose someone who already has their own children? Why would he choose someone who is, decently overweight, if we want to put it nicely? Why would he want to choose that kind of woman? Why would he choose that? He can start fresh with a woman who doesn't have the baggage, who doesn't have the issues and everything that an older woman traditionally comes with. And again, that's a hard pill for our women to swallow. So, my question would be, do you qualify for the man that you want?
Now,
quick answer. That's a long answer.
Now, for the men,
yes,
when they come to you with their list,
mm-hmm.
and you spoke about some men don't like weaves. I talked to some guys and they're not interested in it. And they said it's hard to find women with edges.
Right.
I said,
right.
Oh, is
okay.
it?
Right.
And I was like, wow, I didn't even really think about that. And it was like, I said, oh, okay. And all they wanted some edges because one guy had the nerve to tell me, which was funny. I loved it. He said, I don't want to be next to my girl and she's bald.
Sure.
And he said, and he also shared with me, and you tell me you agree or disagree. He said the most sexiest part of the female is waking up to see her natural beauty.
This is true. Absolutely. Yeah, men are, as I said earlier to you, that's a great question. Men are very simple creatures, and it's one of the reasons why men are so frustrated and so perplexed as to why women don't get how men are. Because men are simple creatures. The problem with it is that in the things that men want women generally are diametrically opposed to that. Men say, I want a woman who can cook. And so automatically when a woman thinks he wants a man who says, oh, he wants me in there slaving, cooking mac and cheeses every night and, and chickens and everything. And they automatically kind of go to this mindset of like, oh, he just wants some woman. He wants to be able to tell her what to do. And he don't want.
That's usually her friends.
What's that?
That's usually her friends or the people in her camp telling her about her relationship.
Right. And so men say, I will say this is a very interesting time that we're in right now because it's pulling, as I always say, it's kind of pulling back the curtain on many of our black women, and it's not something that they were ready for, I don't think. And so now men are saying, you know what? Yeah, why would I want to, get with a woman who already has her own children when I could start fresh with somebody who doesn't? That does make sense. Why do I want to, I want to start my legacy in my tribe. If I were to ask a man, do you want to start with a woman who has kids from another relationship, or would you want to start with a fresh woman? He's going to say, I want to start with a fresh woman. That only makes common sense. Mm-hmm. So why is it when you say that to women, automatically they're offended, and they automatically go into defensive mode? If I say to you, hey, would you want a guy with a flat stomach, or would you want a guy who's got a belly already? I want a guy with a belly. Would you want a guy who's at his athletic prime and is in great shape, or would you want a man whose body's starting to slowly break down now? A woman would say, no, I want a guy who's I want him looking good and be strong and everything. Right. So why is it when men say, I'd like to be with a woman and get with a woman who does not have children from other relationships? Why is that automatically something that we have to fight over and debate about? And that's the struggle that a lot of our women are having, because men have finally, as I say, and I'm just going to say, and my apologies if I offend any of your listeners.
Go ahead.
I say all the time, men are finally starting to get their balls back. And they're calling women and saying, you know what? No, I don't want some big woman. I don't. And when a woman has been told for generations, no matter how big she was, that she's the bomb, that staggers her ego. When women have been told, girl, as long as you cute and you sexy and you can wear that dress, it doesn't matter if you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. These guys will get at you. And now guys are saying, I don't want a woman with no children. And so you have men that say, I don't want a woman with weeds. I don't want fat women. I don't want a woman with children. And so what it's done is that automatically kind of takes out a large swath of our women, right?
Mm-hmm. But to me, I look at that as constructive criticism, because if you were cold back in the day, you was fine back in 85, 86, well, yeah, okay, but now we're in the 2000s and it's over. Like, somebody need to tell these people. And like the fupas, like leggings don't go over your stomach, don't go inside your leggings. Like, somebody need to say, okay, stop. Am I being mean? No, I'm being honest. Some clothes are not made for certain sizes. It's clothes that I wouldn't even wear. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's all right. But listen here, I know I got rolls under here, but the only way that you'll find out that I have rolls is if you are very special, because I ain't about to go broadcast. Okay, and be a billboard and let the public see me. It's not happening.
I get it.
And I agree with you as far as like with women becoming defensive. Why are you defensive and trying to tell other people that they're wrong for their likes or their desires? Right. So it's like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, women have pretty much been defensive because, again, going back to my previous comment, for literally generations, women have been told, and women have had the belief about themselves, specifically our women, have had a belief about themselves that everything that they do is wonderful. You hear it in our commercials. Black women are this. Black women rock. Black women are, they're magical. They're this. And so what men have finally started doing, and this is what I think men have finally started getting their balls back, is they're finally coming to women and saying, y'all not all that. There are some women who are good. There are some women out there. But if you look at the criteria, because what's happened was, and I mentioned this actually in my new book, which is coming out in April, what's happened was, for literally decades and generations, women have been the ones grading their own paper. And they've been grading their paper on a curve. And so when they say, what's a good woman? A good woman is whatever I say it is, as long as she's black, right? And it's like, so she has 3 children, 2 different dads, she's a good woman? And so men have finally started saying, no, we're going to grade the paper. We're going to tell you what good women are. Just like for women, you should specifically say what a good man is. You have their, I can't tell you what a good man is. I can't. So for men, we're saying a good woman is a woman who abides by Christian principles. Okay? So, what does that mean? So now you have to go to this checklist, and then you start checking off like, well, a woman shouldn't have a child outside of marriage, right? Now that makes women gasp and say, who gave you authority to tell me, or to tell, this is what men, if you go to any race of men, white, Hispanic, whatever, they do not want to have some other woman's children. They just don't. The majority of them do not. Why is it literally force-fed to our culture to accept someone else's children? And again, like I said, this is something I talk to women, and they get mad and they get uptight. So be it. I'm not the one that did anything. All I'm doing is being a spokesperson for black men.
Bringing awareness.
Right? And just telling them, this is what black men talk about. And I'll say this, and I'll hush. I have and I believe you're in the group. I have a group on social media, on Facebook, where I allow men to just kind of speak untethered. You can say whatever you want. Be respectful, but say whatever you want. If you're, sick of black men, if you're sick of black women, say that. Don't hold it in, because for so many years, black men have not had a platform to speak candidly about how they feel about black women. Black women have had the platform. They've had the mic. And so now, and I remember when I started the group, I said, if you allow black men to speak uncensored, you're going to be shocked at how they feel. You're going to be downright shocked, because this idea that they just think that black women are just, cookies and cream, I promise you that's not the way they look at it. And so it's a hard conversation to have, but it's a necessary conversation to have, because if you have, I look at it kind of like, the secrets in many of these black families. We have these secrets that are, that we have in the black families, and nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants, don't tell such and such that this is what really happened with that. Don't tell them that. Well, then it's really, it just grows and it festers. And so when I tell black women, you are going to have to start beginning to listen to our black men and hear what they have to say, and ask them, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel, black women aren't on your side? Why do you feel black women are against you? Why do you feel that you have to, that so many black men, even though the majority of black men marry within their race and culture, why do you feel that so many black men are jumping ship and marrying other races? You have to ask these hard questions. So.
What's the name of your group on Facebook?
It's called The Safe House. And you have to, it's not a group that you can find. You actually have to be invited to it.
Okay.
So if you are, if anyone is interested, let me know. I actually got out the group as of yesterday, even though I'm the originator of the group, only because I have multiple projects that I'm working on right now. And the group was, and I had another group I was running too. I got out of both of them, but they were taking up too much of my time. So I turned it over to my admins and was like, you guys run it. But it's called The Safe House, and as the group description says, it is not for the faint of heart. If you're not ready to hear some raw truths about sisters, don't even ask. So it's not about bashing it, but it is about telling some truths. Telling some truth.
Yeah. I was. I am a member. Look, I am a member of the group. So I go in and
you see how we get down.
But you know what? You brought up a valid point. As far as you're right. If you're a cream puff, don't even go. Honestly, but I see where even I'll ask the question, and I'll ask the question for the men to answer. So you have a platform where men are actually speaking their truth, but then you'll have a female that wants to argue and debate. How can you debate about his thoughts? That stuff drives me nuts, because I'll ask a question for men, even with Michael Bays, and shout out to you, Mike. Michael Bazin asked the question and they'll say for men only, but it's a lot of women chiming in and it's like, do you really want to know the answer? Because you seem to want these men to answer the way that you want them to answer. Now, regarding some men of color jumping ship, going to other races and saying that they don't get the support from the, black women, that happens and it is more popular or common than you think. And I interviewed a few people on that actual topic, and it was from their upbringing. So the resentment of how they were raised by their black mother determined their lifestyle once they got out of the house. So if you're hearing, and I always say this, if you hear you're at home getting beat up, you're at school getting beat up, and I'm saying verbally, you're breaking them down, breaking down. So you got to be careful. Even though you mean well, the intent is not, ill will. So the intent may not be bad, but you got to watch and say, what am I actually doing to my son? Now with the men, let me say this. What is going on? Men need to be men. So Annette, yes, you're right. And Nick, in a few seconds, we're going to go to the comments if you can read them, okay? The good ones. If you can. But if you can't, don't worry about it. Oh, okay. The men requesting money from females. How is that okay? And it seems to be more common now than, like, you go in the box, you out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's happening?
I'm laughing because I actually made, as I told you, I got out of my group yesterday. And I think it was either yesterday or the day before, I made a comment in a post about that very thing. Because I am someone who a lot of people come to and talk to about just everything. I've had women like, do you know such and such asked me for money? They asked me if they could get $50. I've never even met this person. And, I'm like, ooh, man. And so the post kind of went something like, fellas, whatever y'all doing out there, I understand sometimes you get down bad. I get it. But whatever you're doing out there, don't ask a woman for money. Go to a guy. Go to 100 guys, but don't ask a woman for money. Just don't. It will permanently fracture the
any chance any chance. Like, I never seen it. And then my thoughts, the way that I look at it, if you request money from me, you don't like me.
It's a very weak thing to do for a man to do that. A man should never be in any sort of situation, unless it's your wife or something. I'm talking about just a random chick or somebody that you just met 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be asking a woman for money.
Your mother. You see, like, sons will usually they'll ask their dad first.
Right.
And then they'll be like, oh, okay. And my son don't like to ask me for nothing. I went to his apartment. They ain't even had he didn't have no fruit snacks. I said, you ain't no food? Like, and he was in college and it was like, wait, I got to go and do this. You know what I mean? But he refused to ask me for money. And I felt good about that. I was like, okay, good job. Because it seems like these younger guys are okay with asking for money. And to me, I'm looking at that like I would never, ever in my life, in the next life, date you, because that means you need taken care of. And you don't even know how to go and get it, because I'm still in the mindset of men are providers. I expect that.
Right. I agree with you 100%. Yeah,
so what's happening that they feel okay? How do you feel okay with asking?
Yeah, the notion that you would even, like I said, for me, my motto is never ask a woman for money. Like I said, unless it's your wife, that's a whole other thing. But I'm saying if it's a situation, where it's just some random woman that you met, a month ago or whatever, and you're like, man, Bill's is a little tight. Let me, she seems to be feeling me and digging me. No. Just, if your power gets cut off, your power gets cut off. That's fine. You'll live.
Give me a candle.
There's people that out there that there's thousands of people in my state right now that ain't got a lick of power in their house. You'll deal with it. It ain't the worst thing. You're not gonna die. Just don't have no power.
Well, Bath and Body Works had a sale, so I'm like, ask me for one of my Bath and Body Works candles. You know, you more have to get that than a dime from me because I'm old. I'm old.
Yeah, it's and I mean, I'm not going to get, because I've taken up a lot of your time already, but it goes part and parcel into how our culture has systemically broke down as far as the way that we look at our black women, because it used to be, like you said, that we looked at ourselves as providers and protectors. Well, a lot of our black women say, I don't really need that. I need to go to the government, I can get my own job, I can do whatever I need to do. And so I don't really need a man to, protect and provide for me. I can do my own thing, right? It's bull stuff, but it is what it is. But
we don't want to do it.
In hearing that over the generation, what it has done to our men is say, well, if she doesn't look at me as a warrior and a provider, what exactly am I to her? So shoot, I'm looking at her as some sex and maybe somebody I can get a couple $100 from. And so this is the way that a lot of our men have kind of walked their life, I would say over the past 15, 20 years now. They don't look at women as someone to be provided for, protected, etc. Now, again, without going into too much detail, a lot of that falls at the feet of women, but that's a whole other story. But, men have gotten weak. We've gotten very weak as far as just the whole vision of what it means to be a man. And again, like I said, I talked about that in my last book. And I will say this, and I'll be quiet. You mentioned about respect. A lot of our women don't respect our men. That's not, that's just how it is.
If you asking me for money, it's over.
Right. Well, let me say this. A lot of our women don't respect our men. However, this is where I'm heavy, and I went really, really hard on the men in my last book about this. A lot of our men don't really do the things to garner respect. So I gave an example where I said, whether you buy into the idea of white supremacy or this country holds black men back and everything. Let's just say it does. Okay, sure. Our women aren't on our side. Okay, let's just say for argument's sake that's the case, right? The bottom line is our men have not really galvanized and gotten together and said, you know what, yes, white supremacy is against us, black women are against us. It is what it is. Let us build something on our own. So I gave an example, and I said, you have 6 or 7 of your boys, right? Say to each of them, say, hey, fellas, let's do this. Let's, for the next 6 to 8 months, each week, that money that we go and spend, going to, such and such nightclub, let's bank it. Every week, bank $20. Not a whole lot, $20. I don't know the math, but at the end of that, you're going to have several $1,000s, probably coming close to about $5 to 10 grand. If you have 5 or 6 of your boys, right? With that, you could start a cleaning company. You could start a production company. There's all kinds of different things that you could do. Our women see that our men don't really take the reins and do anything with their lives, and they say, yeah, we know that the majority of black women are against you. We know that the dominant culture is against you, but there's a number of things you brothers could be doing to really get your ish on the ball. And because our women don't see that, they sit back and they're like, well, you ain't trying to really build an infrastructure for nothing as far as a black legacy. Why should I respect you? And this is the other side of the argument. Like I said, as I told you, I'm a fair person. This is the other side of the argument. Say, now our black men are complicit partially in the way that our black women disrespect us, because we don't really come together and fuse and say, you know what, yeah, we know we got a lot of stuff working against us, but let's us, forget about all that. Let us come together and let's do this. Other cultures and other races do that. They live in a, it'd be 10 of them living in a no-bedroom apartment. And they're like, you know what, we ain't worried about no J's, we ain't worried about no Beats headphones. We're going to do this. We're going to bank this money, and in about 3 or 4 years, we're going to come out, and we're all going to be okay. We don't have any sort of communal ideas about getting together, as far as black men. about getting together, about building with one another, nation building or nothing. So, because of that, you are, and I hate to use this word, a slave to the dominant culture, because you'll never get out of any type of, working environment where you're just working for the man if all you think that, I'm just going to keep working and working and eventually I'm going to hit my lick. No, that's not how it works. Other cultures are aware of that. They realize, I'm going to work this job, but I'm also going to be socking money away. And you know what? I got 8 of my boys, we're socking money away for the next, year and a half. And man, when that year and a half comes, we're going to be on it. Why did we not think like that? We have such an aversion of working with one another. And that's one of the major problems that we have in our culture, and one of the major reasons why our women do not have a lack of respect for us.
Okay, now these are yes or no. Respect. Okay, this is for the respect questions. Your girl calls you a bitch.
Oh, law.
As a man, and I know you're not speaking for everybody, but I got you up like me. I put myself up on there. I put myself on the cross. So,
right.
If you're female, if your girl calls you the B word, is that relationship over?
Wow. There's so many different ways I could go. I mean, the quick answer would be yes.
Okay. All right. And now I'm going to the next one. I'm going to go to the next one.
Okay. I would say the quick answer would be yes.
Okay. Nick. Wait a minute.
To stoop so.
Wait a minute. 1 second. I'll let you go.
Go ahead.
Nick, as a female, if you were to call your man a B, is that relationship over?
If I call my girl that?
No, I'm going for her, for Nick. Nicole, from a female's perspective. If you call your man out of his name, is that relationship over for you?
No.
No? Now, here's what's interesting. So, and this is why I wanted to do it. You said yes, you said no. Now, me, if I stoop so low to call my man somebody that I love the B word, that relationship is over because I no longer have respect for him. But we determine our words and what we will put up with by our own experiences. Now, preference for a man. And Nick, I want to ask you this from a female's perspective. Man desires what he likes. And you can't meet those desires. Do you get offended or do you keep it moving and accept it for what it is? Okay, so you keep it moving, which is mainly the mature answer. I see often, even on your stuff, Blair, where women get offended and then they want to debate with somebody else's desire. How do you debate with what, I'm going to say just me, what I like? You can't argue with me off of my likes. What's going on?
I think there's a couple of things going on. Again, I'll kind of go back to say part of it is lack of respect for our men. Our women, the majority of black women don't have respect for black men. I'm not even going to go to the men, this tit for tat thing. The majority of black women don't have respect for black men, right?
What about any women? Like any nationality?
You said any nationality?
Yeah, any nationality. I know you speak on your experience, the black female.
Right. Yeah.
But
other nationalities, by and large, there's an old saying, they know where their bread is buttered, right? There's a reason that, going back to our previous election, there's a reason, previous meaning back in 2016, there's a reason that 66% of white women voted for Trump, right? 66 for Trump to be this demagogue and this, misogynist, and, whatever. 66. That means 2/3 of white women voted for Trump, right?
Uh-huh.
Why? Because their men have an alliance and a mindset that is similar to Trump. Even though they might say whatever, they might, white men do this, or da 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 da. At the end of the day, they know I'm going to back my man. I'm going to get behind my man because he is the leader. Our women don't see our men as that. Whether it's true or not.
Okay.
Our women don't see our men that way.
Okay, we got a caller. Go ahead, caller. You're live on Shop Talk.
Good morning, Shop Talk. This is Cecily Taylor calling from Columbus, Ohio. And I just wanted to say this show is amazing this morning. You guys are doing a great job. I'm loving the questions. And yes, as a black woman, I am severely hated. But at the same time, I feel it. There's a lot of truths going on here. And I'm going to continue to listen. And I'm probably going to call back. But I'm just saying, oh, my God. If you can look at the comments right there. Oh, my God. Man.
Did you say her name was Stephanie?
Cecily.
Say it one more time.
Go ahead, Nick.
Cecily.
All right, you keep listening, and thank you for calling Shop Talk.
Oh, my. Okay, y'all.
All right.
So Cecily just called to say I'm mad. Is that what it was?
But you know what? And it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And, you kind of wonder where it comes from. And it might be the experience. And when you say we are groomed, we're groomed as little girls to become a wife and a mother. We're groomed that way. And yes, you're beautiful. And I don't know any dad that's going to tell their daughter, like, you toe up. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to work a little harder. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say, there's somebody out there, mom's going to say, because you want to protect her heart. Mom's going to say, oh, you're beautiful. The person that's for you will be for you. Heartbreak. He wasn't for you. You guys were mixed matched. So, you know what I mean? But you're, like you said, you're Boaz. That happens a lot. But you done been through about 9 or 10 Boazes, sis. You know what I mean? In the name of the Lord. And it ain't working. Like, get out of here.
Right. So, and if you'll allow me real quick to kind of
go ahead.
Do a shameless plug. So in my new book, I have a chapter, I believe it's called the Disney Complex, and the Disney Complex is basically a concept that when you look at our women and you say how did we, when you look at our and say how did we get here? How did we get to a point where our women feel that no matter how many children they have, no matter what their size, no matter how mean, whatever, that they're just the most wonderful thing. And I said it's because it was inoculated into their mind back when they were children. So back when you were a child, your parents basically told you, your parents specifically, a lot of times your mother, but a lot of times your dad as well, allowed you to just believe everything about you was just golden. You're just wonderful. You're beautiful, even through your temper tantrums and your mood swings and all this. And so what happens is you get to be 14, 15, 16. Girl, these men, they ain't, child. You do you. You get your money. You do your thing. Don't worry about these men, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you believe that parents are the first teachers of their children, if you teach their child this over and over and over and over again, then when they get older, not older, but when they get to be adults, they start to see themselves and say, you know what? Everything about me is wonderful. Yes, I'm X amount of pounds, but I'm still wonderful. Yes, I've got, X amount of kids, but I'm still wonderful. And they've been fed this for so long. And the Disney complex is just this idea that women are taught that everything about them is just wonderful, no matter what, no matter how mean, no matter how nasty, no matter how treacherous a lot of their comments and language and everything might be, they're wonderful. And that's a lie. And so it's hard to help women to understand that, we're not talking about a humanity aspect of it. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact of, are you someone who is suitable and wanted by the top tier level of men? And it's hard for women to hear, no, you're really not. You're really not. Because the top tier level of men want a woman who is this, and that, right? And the one, you even hear Kevin Samuels say it in his podcast. We want someone fit, feminine, and friendly. And if you're honest with yourself, over as far back as I can remember, what has been the thing that the majority of people have said about the majority of our women for literally decades? They are not fit, they're not friendly, and they have a way about themselves that is less than kind. I'll just say it like that.
Okay, yeah, with the attitude. But let me say not fit. I disagree with that because that's how you got your Kim K's out there. Okay?
You said, say that one more time?
I said about the not being fit. I said I disagree with that. That's how you got your Kim K's. Kim Kardashian trying to be us.
But let's deal with facts though. 82% of black women are overweight or obese. So that means that basically more than 4 out of 5 black women are overweight or obese. That's not Blair talking. This is a fact. You can go look it up on any reputable website.
Yeah, any statistics,
82% of our black women are overweight or obese. So then you have to say,
and who do we blame? Who do you see that we blame? Our men? Talk about we doing it by ourselves. I say, who do you see that we blame for being overweight or anything to go wrong? Oh, I'm doing this by myself. I got these children.
We're going deep today, ain't we? Okay. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's a combination of eating habits. I don't think it's necessarily, our women just want to, necessarily be fat. I think it's a combination of dietary habits, believing that, consuming more than you eat, that's part of it. Eating the wrong things, that's part of it. Being adverse to working out, that's part of it. How many times have you heard it's my hair? Okay, well, figure it out, just figure it out.
It's summer. I can't sweat this perm out. You went on mute. You went on mute. Let me ask you this before I let you go, because I want to talk about the married couples real quick, because I know that you did a married versus single seminar. It was a while back. I think that was in 2017 as well. When you say that, how do you prevent a man from losing interest? Real quick. I know that's like a hard question. It's open-ended, and I'm talking about real quick.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think, so I'm going to go a couple different directions with this. I think that you have to understand what specifically is it that man likes. A lot of times, women will say, well, he's just going to have to love me as I am. Okay. You can love an individual and not be attracted to them, right? So yeah, I'll love you, but if you're walking around the house and you got, old, tattered, jeans from the 80s and everything, some Bugle Boy jeans or some, crazy cross-colored jeans on, I might not be that attracted to you. If you're going around with a size 6 t-shirt on, with, rips and it's wrinkled, I might not be attracted to you. So your presence matters. Your weight, it's a number of different things. Your weight matters. Men, by and large, want a woman who he is attracted to. And again, as I said to you earlier, men decide that, not you. Men decide what is attractive. So if men say a woman who is 300 pounds is not attractive, that's not attractive. And you have to say to yourself, you know what, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be 300 pounds. Maybe I need to get in the gym and do X, Y, Z. And immediately, unfortunately, when you say that, automatically women start becoming defensive because weight is such a touchy topic in our culture. So, instead of saying 300-pound or 280-pound women are not attractive, women automatically become defensive and say, why? There's somebody out here who's going to love it, right? Well, the majority of men don't love that. If you want to go with the unicorn of guys, the guys that love it, fine. But those guys are very far and few between. So what is, when you're home with them, Do you bother him? Do you bring him peace? Men are about peace. I'll share this with you. I did a book club back in 2018, and I went and asked the women. I asked the women. I said, "What are the things that you look for in a guy? Right? What are the things that are important? What are the things that are must-haves? Right? Non-negotiable." They were, yeah, he got to be this and he got to be that. The typical stuff, right? So then I said, what are the things that are important to men? I mean, you would have thought I was talking NASA terms. The women just looked around and, but I guess whatever is important to him. And I said, you ladies have no idea what's really, I guess sex, I'm like, that's not even in the top 3 that's important to men. What are the things that are important to men? You've been told the only things I got to do is give him sex and cook. And those are not in the top 3 things that are important to men. The very first thing that's important to most men, any man, is his peace. Can I have peace when I come home? If I get home at 7 o'clock and, you start going in about how I forgot to cut the grass this weekend and the grass is looking crazy and, such and such and such and such, Jamal's teacher called today and, we need to do something about it. I don't want to hear that. I want to come in, I want to relax, I want to get my ESPN in or whatever it is. I want to watch ESPN for a second, have a beer for, a half hour, 45 minutes. I want to unwind. And then we can talk. But unfortunately, our women have been taught to believe that everything about them is much more important and trumps whatever is important to men and their feelings. And that's why a lot of our women end up being single. So, again, your parents is part of it. Are you bringing him peace? Because as I tell women, if he don't get peace at home, he gonna go somewhere and get some peace. So give him, don't be mad when he, I can't believe this fool out here. Was home life peaceful? Not peaceful in your standard. Peaceful to him. Was his home life peaceful?
I.e., How the Wife Becomes the Other Woman by yours truly, Mel Ross. You guys can get that at Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, and Amazon.com. All right, good. That was a good plug. But that's the truth.
Absolutely.
That's the truth. That's how the wife becomes the other woman. It's like, okay, the side chick over there, and it's all fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you just relax, you chilling, you guys are laughing. And then when you go home, there's no laughter because it's all business as usual. So I get that. So give some advice on how married couples who are going through the stresses, especially, with what we're dealing with financial issues, the whole 9, give some words of advice to those married couples, things that they can do or suggestions that they can do to kind of get back.
Right. Very, very timely question, especially given the fact that we're dealing with, with COVID and all the stressors of that. What I would say is, especially now, given the fact that we're isolated for the most part, we're isolated and we're, quarantining and everything else. Make sure that you are giving that person whatever that they're looking for. And when I say whatever they're looking for, if they're needing extra attention, then give them that. If they're needing space, then make sure you give them that as well. Because right now, I've heard from a number of different sources that divorce filings are way up since COVID started. Understandably so, because, especially in the rough part of COVID of 2020, we were isolated and we didn't, we were, social distancing and, people who were not used to being home 5 days a week were now home with their significant other. And, they're, bumping, against each other. And, you don't get that outlet of going to the office and being, that freshness of just going into the office every day and everything. So, especially now, make sure that you are being what that person needs for you to be. Like I said, make sure you're having a home of peace. Even with myself, I'm a recent newlywed, and we make it a point to always give each other what they're looking for. So if my wife needs extra attention, I can kind of pick up on that, and I say, you know what, I can't go do whatever today. I can't go, whatever. I got to give my wife her attention. I got to.
So how do you know though? Like, is it on a Post-it? I need some time. Like, because it's a guessing game with us.
Yeah, for me, like, for example, my wife is she's a very touchy-feely, I wouldn't classify it as needy, because that almost sounds like it's bordering an obsession. But she's very much I want to hold your hand while we're watching TV, and I want, that I am a only child, and that means I'm a loner. So we had to, within our world, find that happy medium. And there's times where I'll just go, in the basement and I'll, just veg out and watch TV for 2 or 3 hours, not doing anything. No, you can't come down here. You can't come in, like, stop the rest of my day. No. This is my time. And again, what's happened, and I mean, you kind of spoke on it a little bit earlier, a lot of our women have infringed on black men's time and their spaces for so long, and black men have finally gotten to a level of resentment, like, no, you're not going to come in our spaces. Make sure you have your time and your space. If you like being alone sometimes, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm guilty.
If you say, yeah.
I'm guilty because it is like, oh, wait till they come home. They'll help you. And you'll be like, what? Help what? I just got off work. So-and-so need this moved. And you know what I mean? And we lend. We lend our men. And it's like telling them what they're going to do. So you're right.
Yeah. A lot, for myself, I'll use myself as an example. I'm a loan officer during the day, so I'm on the phone all day long. And of course, I'm an author and also a dating coach as well. So all I do is talk, right? So a lot of times at the end of the night, I want to just kind of recalibrate and just say, no, we'll talk for a little bit, but there's going to be some time here where I kind of go off on my own and just recharge. And again, going back to your question, we don't have enough of that. We think, well, I'm living, I'm with my wife or my girlfriend, and I kind of got to do what she wants to do. No, you get to have, you get to get some of your benefits in this as well. So if part of your benefits is, hey, I want to go home for an hour and a half and play my Xbox or my PS5, then do that. If part of yours is, I want to watch Real Housewives. I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to stare and cackle and laugh and talk SHIT to the TV. Then I want to do that. You got to find what works for you. Every couple's going to be different. Some couples don't mind being literally up under one another 24/7. There are some couples where one, likes a lot of attention, and one is like, hey, I'll give a little bit of attention, but I need my me time as well. So you got to find what's important to your significant other. That's what I'll say.
Okay. And I'm going to let you go. On page 84 in your book, Love is a Beautiful Thing Until It Ain't. You guys got to pick this up. I really like this one. I truly, truly like it. You actually say on there, making your own choice. Well, when you make your own choice, I'm paraphrasing, there comes responsibility and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
A level of that. And I think that's what's missing. Like, people are like, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, or I refuse to do this for my spouse. And I'm talking married couples right now. And no, he knew what I was when he had me. When we first got together, I wasn't doing it. And not willing to compromise, but then get upset because their response is not what you think their response should be. So that's why I really like that when you said, in making your own choice, there comes a level of accountability. Well, you said responsibility and accountability. You got to take responsibility for the choices that you make. We got a caller. Last call. Go ahead, caller. You're live on Shop Talk.
Hello, this again is Cecily Taylor, just calling back. I just wanted to say on the heels of what you said as far as making choices, life is about choices. And we have the opportunity to make a choice according to our wants and needs, likes and dislikes. And I feel like, I'm not sure, if you have been hurt in the past, I'm not sure what your name is, but for most women, we make a choice as to whether or not we're going to commit to somebody according to our likes and dislikes. So the way I see it, the woman has a choice to start with.
Yeah.
Yes, a man is into aesthetics, but you got to be honest with yourself. You make the choice, you live with it, and you move on. Especially with married people, you make that choice ahead of time. Trying to make changes after the fact takes a lot of work and time, and it don't happen overnight. So be honest with yourself before you even get into a relationship in making the right choice and decision. Don't leave it up to your spouse to make you happy. You got to start out happy in order to move on in something like that. So that's all I wanted to say.
I like it, and that's great advice. At the beginning, author Blair Nash, at the beginning of the show, we talked about the women and the choices that we make. That was at the beginning, so he did touch bases on that.
Good.
Yeah, but that was great advice, Cecily. It's the truth. It's the truth. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, I agree with her, actually. Yeah, I mean, there's a saying, and I might butcher this a little bit. Men marry with the hopes that women marry with the hopes that they'll change a man. Men marry with the hopes that their woman will stay the same. Men pretty much like what they like. There's not, he's not going to get married and say, I really wish you were blonde. That's typically not how men do. Men pretty much want, because women as a whole come into relationships, I will do this. I'll be a sweet woman. I'll be a kind woman. We'll have sex all the time. I'll be a nurturer, et cetera, et cetera. And those are the things that men want. But what men a lot of times find out is women pivot from that for whatever the reason, whether it's warranted or not. Women sort of pivot from that, whether it's because of responsibilities now with children, or as I said, maybe they don't really like the man as much as they really thought, or whatever the reason. Women pivot from that, and so what you're finding with men is they're saying, I married her. And yeah, when I married her, when we were dating and we were engaged, she was one way. But 3-4 months after that wedding, wow, she became a different woman. And so
that's because we find out exactly who the man is after you get married, just like the man find out who the woman is when they get married. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna hang up.
Okie dokie, thank you for calling. I appreciate you. Love my shop talkers. Here's where I am with that. I agree with you on that because I was that woman. So I have to agree with you on that part, Blair. On most of it, if you be 100 with yourself, and I appreciate you giving from your experience, what you see, your point of view from a male. So I truly appreciate you coming on, and that's why I like you, Blair. You like sticking to it. This is me, and I'm telling you what I see, and I am a male, and I'll never think, and you did say that before, you'll never think for a female because you can't, because you're a male. So I truly appreciate that. But with that, what you were saying as far as, regarding when you're married, when I was married to, my children's father, I can honestly take responsibility for that not working. And that point that you just made, that you said that saying that's out there, men marry what you were or whatever, what you just was saying, like they want you to stay the same.
Yeah, women marry with the idea that they could change a man and kind of morph him into what they want. Men are just simply hoping that his woman stays the same. Yes.
Okay. Now, sometimes that's true. Sometimes, because I am what I see in front of my face. That's what I expect. That's it. It's like, oh, okay, well, hold on. What happened? I'm not trying to change nobody because what you are right now, I know that is what I'm signing up for. But you always, guys have the tendency to present the representative. But as I was saying, for my marriage, what happened there is once dating all is well, boom, 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 I became a mother and stopped being like the girlfriend. So the dynamics in the situation changed. We got the 2 children, and I focused on that. I remember going into the store and I went straight to the baby section, and he would turn me, and then he would buy me stuff. He would not buy our children anything. He would buy me stuff. So he was still dating me, and I was a mother, and I was no longer a spouse. So I totally take, I saw that, and I was like, I take responsibility for that, even though life changed. But I think that we probably should have came to the forefront. It was like, okay, boom, 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 boom. Because when we were dating, it's something totally different. You know what I mean? And then it's like, up here comes the little people. And as a nurturer, as a mother, I'm focused here. Because had you asked me the questions 26 years ago, who gets fed first? I would have said my children, even though they were ours. I'm like, oh no, you gotta feed the children first. You ask me now, over 40, I'm gonna say the breadwinner, the husband. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, okay, because I'm still in that mindset. So the dynamics change, but as I got older and more mature, I realized like, oh wait, this is not the way that it's supposed to be. And there's the difference. We judge things off of our experience. And growing up in a single mother household, I didn't see anybody coming in there. You know what I mean? No dude was being fed before I was. So that is what it was learned. But listen, I got to get you back on. We do. I do a battle of the sexes. I'm gonna do it again. Lovely people. I'm trying to get past this pandemic. It was a great time. And I got to get you. We got to link up. I got to get you back on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Blair Nash. Love is a beautiful thing until it ain't. This is the one that I like. He has a new one that you just you released before the pandemic. What's the name of that one? I got to get it.
The discussion. You caught me off guard and everything. It's called the discussion: Black Money, Sex, and Relationships.
Okay.
And I'll just say this real quick. At the time that I wrote that, because each and every one of my books I kind of look at as almost a period piece. Mm-hmm. And at the time of that was when I started noticing, I was like, there's a shift happening that I'm seeing with black male female relationships. Where, if you remember, think back to like 5 years ago when we were on Facebook, right? It was just so much fun. It was laughs, and all we did was just joke around all day. But now look at Facebook today, and kind of where it is, and just kind of the, we've gone through a pandemic, and we've gone through, police shootings and Trump, and all these different things, and now it's very polarized. And you can't even say anything on social media anymore without somebody, you can't speak on anything. You definitely can't speak on, black men and black women. And so I said, right now we need to talk about some really critical things about money, because things are going to be changing soon. I don't know, I don't want to go into it really deep right now, but things are going to be changing soon with the demographics and the dynamics of black families. Please, align yourself with other strong black people and black families, because I promise you, in the next 4 to 6 years, you're going to start seeing some things that I would have never thought we would be here. So I would just say connect with, strong families, period, but black families if you can, and start to kind of build with them, build alliances, because you're going to need them soon. So that was what that book was about, just kind of building alliances, talked about, the relationships and what the things that I'm seeing and things I was noticing at the time.
Okay, how can we get your book?
You can go to my website, which is BlairNashSpeaks.com, BlairNashSpeaks.com, and order them. If you also want to, if you're also interested in coaching, you can book a session. We can go into all that as well. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. I truly appreciate you. Nick, did you have anything to say?
No.
What's that?
Oh, okay. I just asked her. All right. That is BlairNashSpeaks.com. Let's give it up for Blair Nash. That's today's guest. Thank you. I truly appreciate you. Truly do. I got to get better with the little sound effects.
You're fine. You're fine.
All right, take it.
There anyway.
Right? Listen, I've been trial and error. Ask Nick for 10 years now. I ain't used to doing this stuff. This pandemic making me have to do it. I need somebody else up in here to do it like they used to. All right, Blair, take it easy. We getting ready to get into our hot topics. Nick, let's hurry up and get this going. It's off the chain. Now, he talked about like our bodies, as far as like women. I saw your face. All your emotions was all up in the screen. I was like, now, should I like put her picture and keep it still? Because I saw all your emotions. But Blair is steadfast. Blair is who he is, and Blair is speaking from men. And I wanted to bring in, from his point of view and his perspective. And that's why I like him, because you do have women who will attack men. We'll ask a man a question, what do you like? And then we don't like the answer. We want to attack them. And then they backpedal, or they never give us the answer that we're truly asking for. So at the beginning of the show, he asked, what do we really want? Now, if we really want something, here you go. You might not like it, but I'm telling you the truth. And then you want to know why they're leaving. Well, you're not listening to your guy. And just like your guy's not listening to you. I don't like fat stomachs. That ain't the move. If you got a fat stomach, I'm out. You a grape away. I'm out. Do I have to be physically fit? If that's what you desire. And I want men to say exactly, what it is that you want. But me, I got a stomach, but I'm just not attracted to stomach. So just because I got a stomach don't mean you can get one. Because I'm like, listen here, it's the truth. I'm like, okay, maybe you.
I'm saying men don't like, fat women. I'm sitting here like, okay, because
no, he didn't say. Guess what? Guess what though, Nick? Guess what?
And I got 3 husbands.
Well, wait, but listen, you didn't hear him. You heard what you wanted to hear. He said men don't like fat women. He did not say that.
He said the majority of the men don't like.
He said numbers. He was saying numbers. But see, and that's what happens even, and he said weight is a touchy thing. People get upset with it the whole night. And yes, that is true. But it's the same thing when a man say, I'll marry you. What do? As females, keep it 100. We going through the magazine. We looking at dresses. We looking, at whatever. So we're hearing something totally different from what is actually being stated. So I think just as females, just hear. And if that's what you're hearing, then that's the one, because you like me, Nick. Bye. Okay, well, I already know I'm not that girl. You're not going to see me in a cat suit just walking around.
Right. Exactly.
Am I upset with the people in the cat suit? Not at all, because if you got it, you flaunt it, okay? That's what you want to do.
Exactly, I mean.
But that's just not me.
If you want me, then okay, we can do this. But
right.
If I'm not your cat to me out, peace.
Right, we can be friends.
Don't be mad at me.
Yeah, we can be friends. And if it's somebody that, and I notice like with women who are, let's talk, since we're talking about the way overweight, like overly overweight, because morbidly obese just sounds like something on TV I should be watching, like Maury in the 80s. Remember that?
Yeah, like 300-pound life.
Right, yeah, that type stuff. But you have people that are like, okay, well, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Well, he said sex and food is not the top, because most men cooking now. So it has to be, it's something more. And I can appreciate that. And I think men need to make their choices just like we make ours. Like we said at the beginning of the show, we choose what we want. This is what we're looking for.
Right.
And they be like, oh, that's a good man. Okay, but I don't want to cheat on him, so why should I do that? I'm not attracted to them. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, you Santa, you all got a jolly with a big stomach and you belting it and you buy gifts. Okay, I'm just not physically attracted to you, so I'm not. That's just me personally. Go ahead.
Question is, and of course I didn't get a chance to check the beginning, but my only question is to that: if you have a woman or a man that is doing everything or your checklist, what you like, what you don't like, and they are abiding by your checklist completely. They are everything that you say you like, and they don't do anything that you say you don't like. And you still decide to step out. That's my problem there.
That's a huge problem because guess what? They don't like her. She one of them. What's that? I'm coming to America. I want you to have your own mind. Now, me personally, that's my preference. You got to be doing your own thing. You have to be self-motivated. I'll support you, but I'm not going to do the work.
Right.
You know, like you. And when he was talking about what he does, he said he talks all day, like you. I can't get you on the phone. You on the phone all day. I'll be like, she ain't going to answer. Text. But I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. You'll be like, I'm on the phone all day. I'm not talking on that phone. Get out of here. So I get that part of it. Or, you know, coming in and be like, hey, I need you to do boom, boom, boom. I'm guilty of the one because I will loan my son out so quick. When he, you know, the year, I'll be like, oh, okay, he'll do it. And then he'd be like, wait, what? And he got his own. I like him, yeah. All right, let's talk about this Kim K. Kim K. Well, she got the body already because years ago when she was with Ray J, she ain't have no body. Let's be real, because she was out hanging with Lionel Richie's daughter and Paris Hilton, and they was all sticks. That was like the look. And I don't know why people be lying talking about they ain't had no work. Yeah, okay. Now she has braids. And yeah, so the media is acting up. I'm going to catch you lovely people. Media acting up because they feel like, okay, she's Armenian. But let's be clear. They're saying, oh, now you want to rock braids. And this is where I had a problem with Kim. She said, well, my daughter wants us to have the same hairstyle. Kim, you don't have to blame that on your daughter because, yes, her children, she got 4 black children now. Just say you like the style. I didn't see, what's your thoughts on, white girls wearing braids?
At first, I was like, man, why they trying to be like us blacks? Us black women are good for, because I know after a while I was rocking my blonde hair and everything else, no, I ain't there, never nowhere that far.
Boom!
So I kind of like had to step back and be like, man, come on now, you fair is fair. If black women could wear long, straight wigs, especially those with nappy ass hair.
You aight.
They could wear these straight weaves and wigs, and wear all different colors, blonde, blue, whatever. Then why are we getting upset at a white woman that wants to wear their hair in braids? That's something that they like it and admire, especially when they see black women do it. And they admire, oh, your hair is so beautiful. So kind of got to step back on that one. You really do. Now, as far as her blaming it on her kids, y'all, listen, parents, stop blaming stuff on your kids. If it's something you want to do and you know it ain't an adult of you to do it, don't be blaming it on your kids. Just be like, listen, I'm a big kid out and this is what I want to do. So
yeah.
I'm not mad at her. I mean, style was cute. I'm not mad at her.
Style was real cute. That was I used to rock that style. I liked it. And
wow.
I feel you on that. And it's like, do you really have to make excuses? Do we make excuses for having our hair platinum? Right. This is what we want to do.
You know, I rock my blonde in a minute.
Right. We had blonde.
So,
remember, I had the blonde looking like Wanda. It didn't work for me, But, yeah. I just feel like just say it. And I think the compliment is her wearing it. I will say, if you want to go a little deeper, you shouldn't have to justify why you want to wear a certain style, why you want to look a certain way. You really shouldn't. It's like, this is what I like. And to me, that's the compliment. What is it? Copying is the best flattery of something. I forgot. I can't even think of it right now.
Right. But yeah, the compliment.
Imitation is the best. That's it. Imitation.
She want to rock it. She likes that style. That's what she want to wear. Okay, that's a compliment to black people and their different hairstyles.
I really think even
want to rock an afro.
I really feel like even for our people, because we have we're used to it. We rock the cornrows. I think that if you have not, as a black female, I'm going to say this. If you have not, or, if you've got your young men with the cornrows, if you have not taught your children what the cornrow where it derived from, please do. Please do. Because there's a history behind it. So please do. Just educate yourself. I'm all about the education. Got to educate the people. Travis Scott, he was canceled he was supposed to do Coachella and he wanted to do it for free. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And they felt like he doesn't seem remorseful, so he's not going to be doing that. They removed him from that lineup.
That's on everything. They canceled his little snacks and whatever else is going on he had. They canceled everything.
From what happened, and it was a tragedy, what happened in Astroworld. But they seem to be upset because of him doing interviews and who he did. He did an interview with Charlemagne the God. It felt like somebody, I can't remember who I was listening to. They said they felt like the interview should have been with Gail. So I guess they are saying that she's more respected. But in media, everyone is. And why is it that there's a time? Is there really a time? He felt like he didn't do anything. And you have Al. He still feels like, oh, okay, well, I didn't, he feels like that he should be held accountable or he's responsible. I don't think so. What's your thoughts on that?
And let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And I do know we have some Caucasian listeners. And don't be offended, but why is it, and that's part of, our next topic. Mm-hmm. Why is it that if a Caucasian person does something or something tragic happens, they're not held accountable most of the time? I'm going to say 95% of the time, they are not held accountable. Whereas when it is an African American person, you're held accountable every time. You're canceled. Your job, you're fired. You're like, it's just, that's what kills me. Why?
With the quickness.
Because if you're saying all lives matter, okay, all lives matter and everyone is equal and blah, 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 then the sentence or the punishment should be equal for all races around. And that's the problem that I have. They're canceling this man, telling me he's not remorseful, he ain't taking responsibility, but yet and still, Trump changed the school. And y'all trying to get him back in office in the next couple of years. Man, bye. Please, it's not only white folks, it's the black folks is on to do with Trump. Man, y'all miss me with it. Because, like any type of incident like that, the punishment should be the same no matter what color you are. I don't care what color you are. If you did something, if you broke the law, or you did something to cause an accident like that, the punishment should be the same, period, point blank, all the way around. Period. Why is it a difference?
It's really interesting and it's sad because remember the two judges.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's part of the next topic too. Yeah.
The two judges. If you don't know, there was a Louisiana judge. And now, Nick, go ahead and cover it. Go ahead and cover it. I'll add to it because I wanna play the part. Is now crying and remorseful, and I'm sorry because they will go say I'm sorry in a minute when they get caught. A video that somebody in the household, it got out where a black person broke into her house while they were there. So there was a conversation, and her son was real free with it. Yeah, mom said, and they kept bleeping it, but she was saying the N-word. It got out. And now they're asking her to resign. She said she will take an unpaid leave, but she is not resigning. She said what she was going to do, didn't she? She trumped them, didn't she? She like, no, I'm not doing that.
But it comes to the black woman, female judge.
Yep. In Alabama.
One judge, a fat me, another judge, something else.
Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom.
Oh, and a heifer. One of the workers, a heifer.
A heifer.
A heifer.
And the N-word heifer. Okay? So
let's
removed her from the bench.
Okay, Nikita Blockton, 44, was removed from the bench after a 9-judge panel found that she had a pattern of abuse. So they're calling this abuse, verbal abuse.
Okay,
but let me wait a minute. Wait, we about to do it. I'm about to do it. Hold on. I'm just reading the article, okay? A black Alabama judge has been removed from the bench after reportedly referring to colleagues as Uncle Tom, Fat B, and a heifer, according to a complaint. Now, she's 44. She's ordered to pay the costs of the proceeding after a complaint was filed. Now, this complaint was filed in May, saying that she made inappropriate comments to 2 judges and 2 employees. So she out here just making inappropriate comments, but they're saying abuse. When you hear the word abuse, you be like, oh, wait a minute, what the heck is going on? Now, the white judge in Louisiana, she said
the N-word, blaming it on being on sedatives or whatever and all of that.
She said she was on sedatives.
Saying it. So therefore, if he was so free saying it and you did not correct him in this video, then that's abusive too, boo-boo.
Okay, so the Louisiana judge, let me say her name because I said the other one's name. Louisiana Judge Michelle Odinet, Odinet. I'm probably saying it wrong. That's the one where her child, somebody at the house, so y'all be using these phones.
It was her dad. Yes, exactly.
And he was saying it he was telling the father, that's what I got, what mom said. And he was using the N-word. Here's what's interesting. No one corrected him from using that word. It sounded like normal language in the household.
Exactly.
And I guess somebody was robbing her, she said.
It was a bad man that broke into the house.
Yeah. And he recorded it though. So what's interesting to me is I wonder why he recorded it. And she said a sedative. A sedative is like a downer. You can't blame that on a sedative. I don't see where they correlate. Talk to me.
No, they don't. Listen, it was an excuse. And people that know me, they know that my husband and I are not like that, baby. Your son was saying it too free, and neither you nor your husband corrected him in said video, which lets everyone know that this is a conversation that you usually have in your house. You are one way professionally, but your personal life, you don't like us niggas.
Okay, you passionate. I heard that. Now, the Louisiana Supreme Court has disqualified Judge Michelle Odinet after she was caught on video using a racist slur. The Lafayette City judge, who previously said she had no memory of the incident, admitted to her role in the video and apologized. So is that's all that has to happen? I apologize. Before the word was, remember before it was I misspoke. And
listen, black folks are tired of your apology. We're tired of it.
Now watch this.
What did say that way you really feel?
Now what did she say, Nick? What did she say? What did she chose her punishment.
She said, I will take an unpaid leave, but I am not resigning. Well, the caucasity of that statement. I wish black folks could do that and keep their jobs and everything else. Really?
Okay, now watch this.
A nine panel of judges.
Well, I just got this information. It says her order said that Odinet is disqualified from exercising judicial functions without salary during the pendency of further proceedings in this matter. So she chose hers. She was like, nope. So there you go. Now the video is circulating all across social media. She should be punishing her child with the camera. Why would you record it? And release it? Or did somebody hack into their account?
Ain't nobody hacked into that account. That boy released it, thought that cute. It's not cute, little boy.
Do you think that he thought it was cute, or was he trying to get his mother? Because I know some children who will be like, yeah, y'all think she's this way.
Yeah.
Because these children, these young folk coming out, they're exposing some things.
Yeah, especially if they don't like their parent, or if they're, if their parent. Now, he may be one of the kids that love him some black women, that love being around black people, and that's maybe his way of, outing his mother. Yes, that's true, but in the same sense, he was still too free saying that word, and he was not corrected. He was not corrected.
Different. Shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. I like her. Yeah, she graduated from college.
Where she get that
science degree. She got it. She said that's what she's doing. Before, I remember they showed an old clip where she auditioned to rap or something, and she was in the dorm, and then boom, they gave her a chance. She said she made a promise to her mom and her grandmother to finish college in the middle of her career. She was like, boom, let me finish, and she graduated. So kudos to you. And she has her health administrative degree, and she said she wanted to open up I think it was an assisted living, don't quote me on it, but it's in the medical field, or a nursing home, and she got it. She got that, and I'm so excited for her. And she walked.
And she got the paper now to open it up and do what she wanted.
Yes, she does. So there you have it. You don't have to be just one thing. It's like, oh, okay, well, I made it because, and here's the thing, a lot of people look at that like, oh, she made it. She gonna make more money than she could have ever made, with her being a rapper, because everybody has her. But sometimes there's things that we need to fulfill amongst ourselves. Right. We have to fulfill them ourselves. So do what it is that you want to do. Understand this. And she is younger, but I say all the time, you are never too old. As long as you have breath, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. But please don't harm anyone. Today's footnote is how to have a good day by having a good day. All right, lovely people. That is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you. I think I miss you already. As I do.
I miss everybody. But y'all, I be missing that weather. Although it's raining right now, but yeah.
All right. Awesome. Today's guest was author, relationship coach, matchmaker, Blair Nash. This is the book that I like. Love is a beautiful thing till it ain't. So sit down with your partner, have a conversation, and be open. Don't get upset. You cannot be upset. I would actually suggest, because some people don't speak and can't voice their opinion well without being cut off, or write a letter because they can read it. Because let me tell you one thing about people. We will people. And when you're trying to say something and then they'll hurry up and come to the defense, and it's like, okay, so you didn't hear what I said. If you write it down and make it plain, they can read it, internalize it, and then respond. All right, so learn your people, and every day, just as the world is evolving, so are we. I love you guys for listening. Remember this, it is okay to be you. Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk! Right here, everywhere on your favorite podcast.